remplit.
Hello everybody, welcome back. We'll make a real quick video. There's not a great deal to say, especially as it's Sunday. Sunday is pretty much the lamest day of all days for crypto. Pretty much a non-event day, really, so whatever happens today I kind of really don't particularly care about. I've got a few people asking me in my DMs on Telegram about, black swans, and, because I suppose I might have put the fear into people a few videos back when I was talking about how black swans are essentially circling all charts like vultures at the moment, which is true. There's a lot of things going on in the world right now that could culminate or even individually cause a black swan event, really. And that's true. And so if you're thinking about, black swans, as someone was asking me about, what do we do about, what price would we be looking at in the event of a black swan, which is a bit of a, it's a fair enough question, but it's also, it's your best guess, isn't it, really? A black swan is something that can't really be predicted. In the past, black swans have been, anywhere between 40 and 50% drop from the price that it was at the time, from wick to wick, effectively. And so with that in mind, it's difficult to really say where a black swan would take us down to. But if it were to happen, we would be looking for the lower 20s, I would imagine, which probably I would expect to see, in the 40% kind of zone, really. It's basically about that. So, and again, a black swan is something that can't be accounted for, so effectively it is a big guess as to where it would be that you'd be buying it. Best thing to do, really, is not try and catch the dip on a black swan, but evaluate the black swan after the event and what it really means before trying to catch a knife on it. Historically, black swan events, the best one being in recent time was, when the March crash happened. That was a black swan that hit all economies and all markets. And obviously, crypto was a big one. And so we think about the actual day of the black swan. From this wick down to this wick, we saw a drop of 52%. That's like a day. About a 24-hour period, 52% drop. So for anyone who wanted to try and catch that, that would have been a great catch, really. Me personally, I didn't bother with that. I saw the way it was going. I saw that we had lost the 200 exponential. I saw certain things going on in the world, and I thought I'm going to take quite a lot out. But I didn't buy this as soon as it came down, not at all. I waited for certain signs and signals of strength before I got back in, and I didn't get back in until about 5,000, really. So that is how I would deal with a black swan. I wouldn't try and catch a knife on the way down, because we don't know what the black swan would be. It could be all kinds of things, couldn't it? And so with that in mind, how can you really price in anything? It's always good to have Bitcoin or to buy Bitcoin on the way down. But if you're looking to actually trade the chart, then that's different. But if you're looking to just stock up on Bitcoin, I've had these all the way down since we started, since the consolidation really picked up a notch after, again, a similar black swan event took place here, to which I did de-risk, and I've been putting back in at specific areas. But that's why they're down here and down here and down here. So that's how I would see it, and that's how I choose to view it, and that's what my general strategy would be. Effectively sell high, or at least de-risk when consolidations are more clear and black swans are becoming more and more evident. This was an obvious black swan, really, which is why I made those videos about it before it happened. But normally black swans aren't so obvious. This was basically a carbon copy of what took place over here, and so it was. It was not to, it was not like guaranteed, but it wasn't, it wasn't. Let's just say we kind of expected it, really. But right now, we don't even know what to expect on a minute-to-minute basis with all the things that are going on right now. So we can't really expect, anything black swanny and how it would have hit the Bitcoin chart, right? So that's how I would choose to view it. Again, I've said pretty much every video and every live stream, most of my available capital has been sitting there still for a prolonged period of time since de-risking over here. There's been buys on Bitcoin, but when it comes to everything else, generally I'm okay to sort of buy on the way down at specific areas of significance, 29,000 being the next one, really. But most of my expectations are going to come after the Fed have made their decision of how they're going to walk this tightrope, which will be this month, and it could lead into some economic recovery across the board, including with Bitcoin, obviously, and that's, I wouldn't say it's my expectation, but it's my precursor before entering into any specific major areas with altcoins especially. Now, the video I made yesterday about potential alt seasons, I mean, that still stands true, and I would use that, what I spoke about in that video as well, to enter into some small cap altcoins around those particular levels. I won't bore you to death again. I assume you watched the video, so that's how I would play the altcoin market. And again, it does require further downside before it goes back up, and I would also like to see what the Fed are going to do to add a bit more certainty, before I start to expose myself to more, significant risk for altcoins. But we're here for the technicals now, aren't we? So that's your black swan out of the way. We've alluded to that in the past. That's how I would see it, and I wouldn't jump in on any black swan. I would wait to see what the black swan is before working it out. Right. So smaller term time frames, 4 hourly rejected on the 20 exponential. The 10 exponential, like 1, 2, and 3. We gave it up. We're down now below the 38,600, which is it's not the be all and end all. It was a temporary stop, where we could have found a bounce from, but unfortunately not. It's really giving it up in standard Sunday style, really. Sundays are usually a bit droopy, to be fair. And so the next major area I would say that we'll be looking to find any massive bounce, unless we can pick ourselves up right now. I don't really see reasons why we should kind of really bounce from this area now that we've dug our heels in a little lower. The next major area for a particular bounce upwards, and again, bounce is the operative word, would be down at this particular level here, about 37, we'll call it. It'd be okay to try and front run that. 37,000 would be looking for some kind of move there, and if that was to happen, then that could push us effectively all the way back up to the 40s. That is a possibility, but there's no real drives of divergence taking place on any of the time frames really, outside of, I believe, the weekly looks like it could form hidden bullish divergence, but again, it's not really much to go by. And again, if we start to go much lower than 37,000, we'll be retesting this box back down here between effectively the lows, really, 32 at the bottom and 35 at the top. So it's a zone. It'll be a zone. If you've not picked up Bitcoin in any of this downside, it would be a zone worth considering. But don't hold your breath. This is going to take a little bit of time, okay? So the 4 hourly does look, and obviously the daily looks a little tired, but there is a bullish thing that we can talk about, so we don't have to end on such a sour note. Don't worry, there is certain things brewing that I do like on this chart, right? So first of all, is this consolidation is the main thing to focus on. The consolidation, we broke out and we're outside of that. We came down to retest effectively these lows, and we did that a few times, and we could easily come down to do it once again. We could even test lower, and again, we were outside. We're outside of the major consolidation. This could be the accumulation, and accumulations, if anybody's ever been through accumulations, even with just Bitcoin, they can be relatively big. This accumulation so far would have a range of that level of about 41%. We've been in a bigger accumulation than that before. Arguably this zone over here, from what I remember, this was about a 70%. Let's just check from the top to the bottom. I'm back down. It's about 80% accumulation before it really picked up again. So it's something to consider, that this could be one massive accumulation, but that's highly speculative, so let's not write too much into that. What we really want to see is some signals, and with the itchy cloud, there is something to focus on, which is a green portion of the cloud over here, which is good. It's gone green. We've also got a positive cross in the cloud as well, which is good. The next thing we need is to see price get above the cloud, so we do need to, if it were to happen over the next week, we'd need to close above 42,500 first of all, but it's this main thing here, which is why I don't think we're going to be looking at anything massive anytime soon, but big things could take place, over the next couple of months, as we're brewing this signal on a daily. So 1 portion, 2 portion, this needs to get above the cloud, and then this cheeky span also needs to get above the cloud. And at the moment the cloud is all the way up here, 49,000, so that seems a bit unrealistic. But over the next couple of weeks it'll dissipate to the point where it's basically 42,000. So if we are able to reclaim 42,500 over the next, let's just say 3 to 4 weeks, we would get one of those signals which should push it up and pump it up. We've seen that Bitcoin can do big pumps, and just recently we had over a period of 6 days, 32%. So that's quite good. And again, that was based on nothing other than fundamentals, really. And this is what I was saying: the fundamental reason for it to go up and a technical reason for it to go down. What we really want to see is a technical reason for it to go up, accompanied with a fundamental reason for it to to go up as well. The fundamentals are there. All right, the fundamentals are there for Bitcoin. They're not there for altcoins at the moment, not in this current situation, but they are there for Bitcoin in theory. Anyway, this is about Bitcoin proving its worth of its promise. And again, the Bitcoin promise, adequately put by Michael Saylor, is the best time to buy Bitcoin is always 5 years ago. So better late than never. You're buying into any of this area, if it does appear to be accumulation, you will be rewarded in 5 years. But for the moment, obviously we all know that crypto is volatile. The entire market, every market right now is volatile. We've got the Russian ruble basically on Probit right now. It's sinking and will continue to sink. And this is part of the reason why I think the fundamentals of Bitcoin are probably now, it's now or never, isn't it? Really, we're talking about a hedge against inflation. Everything's going to be, there's going to be inflation across the board. That's just inevitable. It's already high. It's going to go higher. And so if you're looking to hedge into any inflation, a hedge of inflation is arguably going to be gold, isn't it? Clearly, but if you're looking for something a bit braver than that, then it would be Bitcoin. That's the argument that it says. And to be honest with you, when it comes to gold versus Bitcoin, Bitcoin wins, doesn't it? I don't know where your entry point was, but my entry point was all the way down yonder. So it's okay for me to talk about my hedge against inflation because it's worked. You know what I mean? It's worked, and this is the thing I've got to say. It takes time, doesn't it? It takes time. We can look at this from a trader's perspective and look at trying making longs and shorts, and doing all these positions coming out of our ears. But realistically, my main position has always been that of a spot trader, and accumulating as much Bitcoin as possible. The reason I like altcoins is to do exactly that. But I talk about this on that live stream all the time. Altcoins serve a general purpose for me, which is basically to earn more Bitcoin, really. But yeah, short-term time frames does look like it wants to come back down to this level. We really do want to see what reaction it has to that. This is only a temporary stop. If we do bounce from here, it would be pretty good. But the fact is, we'd be coming all the way back down again, and I would expect to see this zone retested. This might be enough to scare the pants out of people, failing to recognise that we're already out of the main consolidation, and this accumulation is a choppy range. And I think that's probably the best way to look at it. A choppy range that's shaking people out when people don't look at the fact that the major consolidation is finished, and we can easily come down to test these lows and it not be a particular issue because we're not being forced down incrementally as dramatically as we were in the past. I called it the electric fence, didn't I? Every time we touched it, bang, all the way down, touched it again, bang, all the way down, and we touched it again over here, bang, all the way down. So the electric fence is finished right now. What we've got now is basically a recovery period or accumulation period. So coming all the way down to these levels is not a big problem. And for those who haven't picked any Bitcoin up, obviously I'm not suggesting to buy it down here. You do what you want to do. I've bought these zones out already, but if you haven't and you're looking to get some skin in the game, you could incrementally start to place some in this box. And I don't think it would be too much to worry about. But again, the reason I started talking about black swans is there's black swans circling the chart right now. These are little birds, and these are effectively black swans, even though they're white. They're all over the place, and with each one of these carries enormous risk that can't be verified or validated on this chart. So do have to expect that as well. There is a number of black swans. I'm not going to go into details about all of them, but I'm sure you can imagine a few of them already. So recognise that. But outside of that, the chart is giving us entry points, and this would be one of them. This general box anyway. Right, I'll leave it with you there. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you have a nice day, and take it easy.